The battlefield was burning. Smoke rose high into the dark sky, and the air was filled with the sound of gunfire, screams, and the echo of explosions. The war between humans and aliens had turned the once green valley into a graveyard of fire. An ash dot in the middle of the chaos, a young alien girl lay on the broken ground. Her body was trembling, her skin pale with pain. One of her legs was crushed under the weight of a fallen machine. Blood poured out, staining the earth red. Her people stood around her, but none dared to touch her. They whispered in fear, "She cannot survive this. She will die soon. It is better to leave her." The alien girl's eyes filled with tears as she looked at them. Fear gripped her chest, and she wanted to scream for help. But deep inside, she already knew the truth. No one from her own kind would save her. To them, a wound like this was a death sentence. Suddenly, heavy footsteps broke through the noise. A figure pushed through the smoke. It was a human, a medic, dressed in torn combat armor, his face dirty with ash, but his eyes sharp and steady. He looked at the girl, then at her crushed leg. The alien soldiers raised their weapons instantly. "Stay back, human," one shouted. "You have no right to touch her." Another growled, but the medic did not move away. He knelt beside the girl and gently placed his hand on her shoulder. She flinched at his touch. Her people gasped, but he spoke in a calm, steady voice. "You are bleeding too much. If I don't act now, you will die." The girl looked into his eyes. They were not filled with hate, not filled with the cold stare of an enemy. Instead, she saw something her own people had not shown her: determination, and a strange kind of kindness that her people protested louder. "Do not trust him. He will finish her off. Humans only destroy," but the medic ignored them. His voice was strong, even against their anger. "She needs surgery. Now, I have to remove the leg." The aliens fell silent for a moment, shocked. Remove the leg? To them, this was worse than death. A life without a limb was no life at all. The alien girl's eyes widened. Her chest rose and fell quickly as fear spread through her. "No, no," she whispered weakly. "The medic's face hardened. He looked at her with eyes that had seen too much war, too much pain. And yet his voice softened as he leaned closer. "I can save you, but you have to let me. I cannot fix what is already crushed, but I can give you another chance." "Huh?" Girl's heart raced. She wanted to scream, to refuse, but she could feel the darkness closing in. Her vision blurred, and every breath was harder than the last. The pain was too much, the blood too heavy. Her people shouted again. "He is lying. She will not survive this. Let her go." But the medic did not leave her side. He pulled out his medical kit, his hands moving fast, his tools shining under the dull light of fire. He was ready to do what no alien doctor dared. The girl blinked, fighting the tears in her eyes. For the first time, she felt a strange choice. Before her, die as her people expected, or trust the enemy who refused to walk away. Her lips trembled. With what little strength she had left, she whispered one word: "Do it." The medic froze for a second, then nodded firmly. His eyes locked on hers, and he whispered back, almost like a promise, "I won't let you die today." Her people roared in protest, but the medic was already working. He pulled free the crushed metal from her leg, blood rushing out in a wave. The girl screamed, her voice cutting through the battlefield like a blade. Her body twisted in pain, her hands clawing at the ground. "Hold her!" The medic shouted. His human comrades rushed forward, holding her down as she thrashed. The aliens watched, horrified, unable to believe what was happening. The medic's knife cut through flesh and bone with swift, precise movements. Blood splashed against his armor, his face set in grim focus. The girl's world was breaking apart. Her screams grew weaker, her strength fading. Her mind told her to give up, to sink into the darkness. But every time she looked at the medic, she saw that fire in his eyes. He was fighting for her life harder than she was herself. Her vision flickered. She heard the medic's voice through the haze. "Stay with me. Do not close your eyes. You are stronger than this." Tears rolled down her cheeks. She had never been called strong before. She had never felt the strange pull of hope in the nigh. Middle of despair at last, the medic pulled away, his chest rising and falling fast. Her leg was gone. Wrapped in tight bandages, the bleeding stopped. She was alive. But broken doubt her people stepped back, horrified. To them, she was no longer whole. But the medic wasn't finished. He reached into his kit again, pulling out something her people had never seen before. A gleaming cybernetic frame, wires sparking, metal shining. The alien girl's weak eyes widened at the sight. What was this strange human magic? Was it salvation? Or another kind of curse? The medic leaned close again, his voice low, steady, and filled with certainty. "This is not the end. This is the beginning." And in that moment, as the fire roared around them and the smoke covered the battlefield, the hook was set. The alien girl did not know if she would wake again. She did not know if the human was saving her or changing her forever. But one thing was certain. Her life would never be the same. The night was heavy with silence. The battle had slowed, but the air still smelled of fire and blood. Inside a human medical tent, lanterns burned dimly, casting long shadows on the walls. The alien girl lay on a stretcher, pale, trembling, her body weak after the amputation. Her breathing was shallow, but she was still alive. Around her, the tension grew sharper than any blade. Her alien people stood outside, arguing loudly, their voices filled with anger and fear. Some demanded she be taken away from the human camp. Others shouted that she was already ruined, that nothing could be done for her. "Humans cannot be trusted," one leader growled. "They cut her apart. She is already lost," another added. "She should be with her own kind, not in the hands of enemies." The human soldiers guarded the tent, weapons in hand, stopping the aliens from storming inside. Their eyes were filled with unease, but they trusted their medic. They had seen him perform miracles before. Inside, the medic worked quietly, his hands moving with steady skill. He cleaned the wound, checked her pulse, adjusted the bandages. His face was tired, but his eyes carried a flame of determination that would not die. He knew she was hanging between life and death. The alien girl stirred weakly, her eyes opening just a little. She saw the human bending over her, his face lit by the lantern glow. For a moment, she wanted to pull away. For a moment, she remembered the words of her people: "Do not trust him. Humans destroy." But she also remembered his voice in the battlefield: "I won't let you die today." Her lips parted, a faint whisper escaping. "Why? Why are you helping me?" The medic paused, then looked at her. His expression was calm, yet heavy with something deeper: sorrow, perhaps, or memory of others he had tried to save. "Because you are alive. And as long as you are alive, you deserve a chance." The girl blinked slowly, her mind spinning. To her people, losing a leg meant the end of life. No one would marry her. No one would see her as useful. To them, she was already broken. But this human, he spoke as if her story was not over yet. Outside, her family argued louder. Her father's voice was filled with fury. "She is my daughter. I will not allow a human to touch her again." The medic's jaw tightened. He stepped out of the tent and faced them. His voice was sharp, carrying across the camp. "If you take her now, she will die within hours." The wound will rot. The poison will spread. I cut her leg to save her, but it is not enough. She needs more." The aliens glared at him with burning eyes. "More? What do you mean?" "You humans have already done enough." The medic lifted something in his hand. The metal frame caught the light. A cybernetic leg, smooth and strong, wires coiled like veins, the steel polished like a blade. Gasps echoed among the crowd. Some stepped back in fear. Others shouted in anger. Unnatural. Dark human magic. She will be a monster. The medic's voice rose over the noise. She will not be a monster. She will be alive. She will walk again. She will be stronger than before. The alien leaders sneered. You would change her. You would make her part machine. That is not life. That is an insult to her people. But then a weaker voice cut through the chaos. From inside the tent, the alien girl whispered, though her voice trembled. Let him do it. The crowd fell silent. Everyone turned to look at her. She was lying on the stretcher, her face pale, her body weak, but her eyes were open, and her words were clear. Her father's face twisted in shock. No, child, you do not know what you say. Her eyes, though filled with pain, burned with something new, a spark of choice. I do. No, if I go with you, I die. If I stay with him, I may live. I want to live. The medic looked at her, a flicker of relief in his eyes, but also pressure. He had won her trust, and now he could not fail. The alien leaders raged. This is madness. This is betrayal. You will regret this, girl. But the girl ignored them. For the first time, she spoke not as a victim, not as a child, but as someone making her own choice. I choose the human. Her words cut like a blade. The aliens froze, their pride wounded, their anger boiling. But none could stop her now. The decision was made. The medic stepped closer to her, kneeling down so their eyes met. His voice was steady like a vow. You are stronger than they know. You will walk again, but you must hold on through the pain. Do you trust me? The girl stared at him. She thought of the smoke, the fire, the blood, and the moment he had pulled her from death's grip. Slowly, with trembling lips, she whispered, Yes. The medic gave a single, firm nod. He turned back to his tools, his soldiers closing. Ranks around the tent. The aliens outside continued to shout, but the girl's words had struck deep. For now, none dared to drag her away. The lanterns flickered as the medic prepared the cybernetic leg, his hands moving with sharp precision. The alien girl lay still, her heart pounding with fear and hope together. She had made her decision. There was no turning back. And in that quiet moment, as the first sparks of the cybernetic leg lit the shadows of the tent, the future of her life, and perhaps the future of her people, began to change forever. Medical tent grew quiet, but it was not a calm silence. It was the silence before a storm. Outside, alien voices rumbled with anger, while human soldiers stood firm, guarding the entrance. Inside, the only sounds were the metallic clicks of tools and the shallow breathing of the alien girl. She lay on the stretcher, staring at the lantern light above her. Her body was weak, every nerve screaming in pain, but her mind was awake. She could feel fear clawing at her chest, yet she did not stop the human medic. She had made her choice. The medic stood over her, his face shadowed, his eyes sharp. He was a soldier, yes, but tonight he was something more. A man racing against death. He laid out his instruments carefully. Scalpels, clamps, tubes, and, at the end of the table, the gleaming cybernetic leg. It looked almost alive, wires twitching faintly, its polished surface reflecting the light. The girl's eyes widened at the sight. It was not flesh. It was not bone. It was something beyond her people's understanding. To her, it looked like a part of a machine beast. For a moment, she trembled and whispered, "Will it hurt?" The medic paused, his hands tightening around the metal. His voice was steady but low. "Yes, it will hurt more than anything you have felt before. But if you can endure it, you will walk again." Her lips trembled. She wanted to turn away. She wanted to scream, but she could not. Air it. But then she remembered the battlefield, the cold dirt, the pain, the voices of her people telling her she was already lost. If she gave up now, she would be nothing but a memory. Slowly she nodded. "I am ready." The medic nodded back once, then signaled to his assistants. 2 human soldiers held her arms and shoulders firmly, while another stood ready with medical supplies. The medic leaned close to her ear. "Stay awake if you can. Fight the pain. Do not let it win." He pulled a blade from his kit, sharp and gleaming. With swift, precise cuts, he cleaned the wound where her leg had been removed. Blood oozed fresh, and the girl screamed, her voice shaking the tent walls. The soldiers held her tighter as her body arched in pain. The medic's face did not flinch. His hands moved like lightning, steady and controlled. He worked quickly, clearing the damaged tissue, sealing vessels, preparing the connection points for the cybernetic frame. Sparks danced from his tools as wires hissed with power. The girl's vision blurred. Her chest rose and fell in ragged gasps. The fire of agony spread through her body, drowning her in waves of despair. "I cannot do this," she thought. "I will die here after all." But then she felt his hand press against her shoulder, firm and grounding. His voice cut through the haze. "Do not give in. I told you, you are stronger than this." Her tears blurred her sight, but something inside her shifted. Against every instinct, she clenched her teeth and fought to stay awake. The medic lifted the cybernetic leg. Its weight was heavy, but in his hands it became a promise. He positioned the steel limb against her flesh. Sparks leapt into the air as he activated the fusion clamps. The sound was like thunder, and the girl cried out as the machine fused with her body. Her scream was sharp, filled with both agony and terror. Her alien veins pulsed violently, rejecting the foreign limb. Her body shook so violently the soldiers struggled to hold her down. "She cannot take it." One soldier shouted. "She will die," cried another. But the medic did not stop. His eyes blazed with iron will. "She will live. She must live." He worked faster, connecting wires to nerves, bonding steel to bone, sealing the points with sparks of energy. Each spark made her cry louder, her body trembling on the edge of collapse. The air inside the tent grew thick with smoke and the metallic scent of blood. The alien leaders outside heard her cries and roared in fury. "You are killing her. Stop this madness. She is our child, not your experiment." The medic ignored them. His focus was unbreakable. Sweat dripped down his face as he whispered words only the girl could hear. "Hold on. Just a little longer. You are almost through." The final connection sparked with a flash of blue light. The cybernetic leg twitched, then locked in place with a hiss. The medic pulled his hands back, breathing heavily. For a moment, the tent fell silent. The girl lay still, her chest rising and falling weakly. Her eyes were closed, her face pale as death. The soldiers looked at one another with dread. "Is she gone?" one whispered. The medic leaned close, pressing 2 fingers to her neck. A heartbeat, faint but steady. His lips curved into the faintest smile. "She is alive." But the operation was not finished. Her body had accepted the leg, but whether her mind and spirit would accept it was another battle entirely. Slowly, the girl's eyes fluttered open. The lantern light swam before her. She looked down, and her breath caught. The leg was there. Metal Wires and steel had replaced what was lost. It looked alien to her, yet it was part of her now. She tried to move it, and to her shock, it twitched. People outside gasped as they saw her shadow move. The medic stood beside her, his voice quiet but filled with power. "You see? You are not broken. You are remade." The girl's lips trembled. Her heart raced. Was this truly life? Was she still herself? Or was she something new, something her people would fear? The question burned in her mind. But one thing was certain. She had survived. Against every law of her people, against the will of death itself, she had survived. And this was only the beginning. The night had stretched long inside the human camp. The medical tent was heavy with silence now, broken only by the faint crackle of lanterns and the slow, steady sound of breathing. The alien girl lay still on the stretcher, her body weak, her skin pale, but she was alive. For hours, no one dared to speak. The human soldiers kept watch, their faces drawn with exhaustion. Outside, her people lingered in restless groups, their voices whispers in the dark. They did not trust what had been done. They did not trust the human medic. And most of all, they did not trust the machine that now rested where her leg had once been. At last, her eyes opened. The lantern light blinded her at first, but slowly the shapes around her sharpened. The walls of the tent, the faces of the soldiers, and beside her, the medic, who had not left her side. His eyes were shadowed with fatigue, but still bright. With the fire of determination, the girl blinked and tried to move. She felt weight at the end of her body. Strange weight. She turned her head slowly, afraid of what she would see. And then she saw it, the leg of steel, gleaming, unnatural, yet alive with hidden energy. Wires ran along its surface like veins. Small lights pulsed faintly, as if the limb had a heartbeat of its own. Her breath caught in her throat. A chill ran through her chest. This was not her. This was not flesh. It was something else. Something she could not understand. Her fingers trembled as she reached out to touch it. Cold, hard, a stranger to her body. She closed her eyes, a tear slipping free. "I am broken." The medic's voice came quiet but firm. "No, you are not broken. You are stronger than before." She turned her head toward him, confusion and pain twisting her face. "Stronger? This is not me. This is a machine." The medic leaned closer, his voice steady as stone. "It is part of you now. It will move when you command it. It will carry. You and your own flesh could not. You are not less. You are more." Her hands shook as she reached for his arm. The soldiers stepped closer, ready to help if she collapsed. The medic's grip was firm as he pulled her gently upward. Pain burned through her body, and she cried out. Her arms trembled, her back arched. But then the new leg moved. The steel frame locked and steadied her. She gasped, her eyes wide. It had listened to her. Her body swayed, but the cybernetic limb shifted under her weight, balancing her. Slowly, shakily, she rose. One step, then another. The soldiers stared in stunned silence. Outside the tent, her people heard the sound, the metallic thud of her first step. They turned, eyes widening, whispers spreading like fire. "She is moving." "She cannot be." "It is not possible." The medic let go of her arm. She wavered, but did not fall. Her chest rose and fell, her breath sharp with effort, but her eyes shone with something new. Power. The girl looked down at the leg, then at the medic. Tears filled her eyes, but this time they were not only of fear. They were of awe. "It listens to me." The medic nodded, his expression calm, but his voice carried pride. "It is yours. Flesh or steel, it is yours." Her people pushed into the tent, unable to contain themselves any longer. Gasps filled the air as they saw her standing. Some recoiled in fear. Some clutched their hands to their mouths. Others stared in silence, torn between horror and wonder. Elder hissed, his eyes sharp with anger. "This is not our way. She is no longer one of us. She is half machine." But another voice, softer, spoke from the crowd. She was dying. "And yet she stands." The words rippled through them. Some nodded, some shook their heads. A storm of doubt spread among her people. The girl's father stepped forward, his face pale. His hands trembled as he looked at his daughter. For a long moment he could not speak. Then finally he whispered, "You should be dead." The girl looked at him, her voice soft but steady. "I should be. But he did not let me." She pointed to the medic, and the silence deepened. Her people stared at the human, their eyes filled with confusion, fear, and something else, respect. Medic did not boast. He did not bow. He simply stood beside her, his arms crossed, his voice quiet. "She is alive. That is all that matters." The girl's father struggled to answer. He could not deny what his eyes saw. His daughter was walking again. Not by their ways, not by their medicine, but by the hands of a human. The girl took another step forward, her new leg shining under the lantern light. The sound of metal against earth echoed in the tent. She stood taller than before, her body trembling but her spirit rising. Her people whispered again, but this time the words were different. Miracle, monster, hope. The girl lifted her head, her eyes bright, her voice clear. "I am not broken. I am not cursed. I am alive." The medic looked at her, a faint smile touching his lips. In that moment, she was no longer just a patient. She was something greater, a symbol. And outside the tent, under the black sky of war, both human and alien knew this was not the end. This was the beginning of something far more dangerous. The night faded into dawn. The first light of morning broke through the smoke of the battlefield, painting the camp in pale gold. The alien girl stood outside the tent, her new leg shining in the light, its steel frame glinting with each movement. The wind brushed against her face, carrying with it the quiet whispers of both humans and aliens who watched her every step. She took another slow stride. The metallic sound echoed across the camp, strange yet powerful. Each step sent ripples of disbelief through the crowd. She should have been dead, yet here she was, alive, walking, reborn. Her people did not know how to look at her. Some turned, their eyes away in shame or fear. Others watched with awe, unable to deny the miracle before them. The elders whispered angrily, calling her a betrayal of their traditions. But the younger ones stared with wide eyes, seeing not a curse, but possibility. The girl stopped and turned to face them. Her voice was soft, yet carried far in the still air. "You said I was lost. You said I could not survive. But here I stand." Her father stepped forward, his hands shaking. His eyes were heavy with conflict. He had raised her, taught her their ways, believed in their ancient traditions. Yet he could not deny the truth standing in front of him. She was alive because of the human. Alive because of the machine leg he had given her. His lips trembled as he whispered, "You are not the daughter I knew." The words cut deep, but she did not look away. Her hand brushed against the steel of her leg, and for the first time, she felt no shame. "No, I am not. I am something new." The medic stood behind her, silent. His work was done. He had saved her life, but he knew her real battle had only begun. Whether her people accepted her or rejected her, whether they called her a monster or a miracle, that was her fight now. The girl lifted her chin and stepped forward, closer to her father. Her leg clinked against the ground, strong and steady. "I live. That is what matters. And if I can live, then perhaps others can too. Perhaps this is not the end of who we are, but the start of something greater. Her words spread across the camp like sparks. Some shook their heads. Some frowned. But some, especially the young, nodded. They had seen the battlefield. They had seen too many die. If survival meant change, then perhaps change was not weakness. Perhaps it was strength. The medic finally spoke, his voice low but firm. War takes too much from all of us. It destroys flesh, blood, and spirit. But sometimes it also shows us what we can become. She is proof of that. The elders hissed, their pride wounded. She is no proof. She is an abomination. But the girl turned sharply, her voice now strong, cutting through their words like a blade. No, I am proof that humans do not only destroy, they heal, they build. They give us another chance when we are lost. Her people fell silent. Even the soldiers who had doubted the medic shifted uneasily, realizing the truth in her words. The medic looked at her, pride in his eyes. She was no longer the broken girl lying in the dirt. She was something else now, something stronger. The girl turned back toward the horizon, where the war still burned. Her eyes narrowed. She could hear distant gunfire, smell the smoke of battles. Yet to be fought, but she no longer felt fear. She felt resolve. I will not hide, she said quietly, more to herself than anyone else. I will fight, and I will fight not as the girl I was, but as the warrior I have become. Her new legs shifted, the steel plates locking into place, ready for the steps ahead. She clenched her fists, her breath steady. Her people stared uncertain, but she did not need their approval anymore. She had her own path now. The medic placed a hand on her shoulder. You will face many battles, some outside, some inside. But remember, the strength you carry is not only in the steel, it is in you. Her lips curved into the smallest smile. For the first time since the battlefield, she felt not broken, not cursed, but whole. The crowd remained divided. Some turned away, still, bound to their old beliefs. Others whispered with hope, seeing her as the beginning of something their world had never known. A bridge between flesh and steel, between human and alien, between despair and survival. As the sun rose higher, she took her final step forward, standing tall before them all. Her voice carried like a promise. This is not the end of me. This is not the end of us. This is the beginning of something new. And with that, she walked into the light, her human-made legs striking the earth with every step, not as a burden, but as a symbol. The human medic watched her go, knowing that she was more than just his patient now. She was a living legacy, a girl who had been broken, but who had chosen to rise stronger.